All right, I want to make a video about um, the thing of records versus CDs and versus MP3s and laptops, because there's a lot of guys that are talking. I've seen talk about that on YouTube and the internet and things like that. And I guess I don't really see things as the same way that I'm seeing a lot of views that are out there. Basically, the way I view it is I'm kind of more of a both-and person, and I've used CDs for a long, long time. You know, when I was starting out DJing, the companies I worked for, they used CDs, and then we got into CDRs and things like that. When I started DJing, you know, completely on my own, I like to use my laptop, and you know, add that to having the CDs. My first CD player, professional DJ CD player, was a Newmark dual CD player that could play CDRs that had, you know, MP3 data on them and stuff like that. And you know, my mixer that I use takes in 8 different sources of, in addition to the microphones, obviously. But you know, my opinion is that basically you need, if you're a professional mobile DJ, the type that I am, that is taking a lot of requests, you're, you know, dealing with a lot of different crowds, then you need multiple sources to be tapping from when it comes to putting in your mix, because things can screw up. You know, you can have an MP3 not processed right, or you know, your laptop, you know, have a meltdown, or whatever, or a CD skip, or just whatever that's going on there, or even problems with records. Maybe there's a vinyl record that you've been playing for a long, long time, and for whatever reason it just was a little dirty that night. You hope you clean all your records before you show up, but you know, if you don't have time, or just something happens, you want to be able to you know, make sure you have a backup. So, and going from one source to another, just going from side A to side B and going, okay, well, what if something screws up? You need more than, I would say you at least need 4 sources, and I'm about to take what I do to about 6 to 7 sources, where basically, you know, I've got my dual CD players, which have been working great for forever, and add my laptop. I'm really getting to a point with the laptop thing where, you know, I've got an older laptop, and it works great. It's really got great specs that are of a lot of the current laptops that are out there, but you know, I use Linux, and sometimes I have some problems. You know, as stable as it's supposed to be, part of the reason I use it is because it's supposed to be stable, but especially Windows, and you've got all these things going on in the background, and I'm almost just like, if you're going to play music off your computer, that's fine, but when you're just going back and forth from song to song, you can deal with processing problems when it comes to queuing up side A versus side B. You know, there's just a lot of CPU usage going on there, and I'm almost at a point now where it's just like, I'd rather use a streamlined or a stripped down media player like Audacious is on Linux, Ubuntu. It's very simple, and you can add songs to it, and it doesn't crash, and it doesn't, you know, do stupid things. And then just simply using that as a source. And I basically, in terms of computers, my view of computers is you definitely need to have one. You need to have that, or you need to have a very sophisticated phone that's going to play back in high quality, you know, MP3s you can maybe buy off the internet, stuff like that. Because, you know, people have requests, and I don't care how big your music collection is, there's always going to be some person out there that comes up with a song that you've never heard about before. And even if you subscribe to the new releases that are out there, there's just that, you know, that one person that comes along, or sometimes there's several of those people that come along. And I realize that some of these songs that people come up with that are you know, just more obscure songs. I realize that maybe a lot of DJs out there, they don't want to play those songs, but you know, there's DJ events that I do, a lot of weddings where maybe you got a lot of family members, or reunions, and there's maybe only 40 or 50 people there. If I have somebody who comes up with a song, and even though I haven't heard it before, if it's a smaller crowd, I'm probably going to just go ahead and play it, because if that person really likes it, they're going to get some other people going, and there's probably a group of friends that actually like the song. And I've had time and time again where there's a song title that maybe I didn't recognize right off the bat, but I went ahead, I downloaded the song, and then I go, oh yeah, you know, I've recognized this song, and I thought, we'll see what happens. But I play it, and the next thing I know, the crowd erupts. So you just can't go from crowd to crowd to crowd and expect things are always going to be the same. And now, if you're a club DJ, and you know, a lot of these guys that are out there doing the club stuff and the techno stuff and the hip hop stuff, they're basically have a lot of times, I would imagine, if they're, especially if they're more like a celebrity DJ where they have their own mixes and things like that. You know, I don't know a lot about that, but I have watched DVDs of celebrity DJs and of the festivals that are in Miami and things like that. If you've got a set list that you go with, you know what you're going to play because people bought tickets to come out and see you. I understand when those DJs maybe have all the things pressed to vinyl, or they're using a Mac and Serato or something like that. That makes sense to me, that that's just how you're going to do it, because that's what you do. But if you're a mobile DJ, you definitely need multiple sources. For me, what all this translates into now is I've got the dual CD player, I've got the laptop as a source, so that's 3. I've got 2 turntables, and actually I love vinyl. I think vinyl is really, really cool. And I've had them for a long, long time, and I originally bought them to use with something similar to Serato, a predecessor of that. And I just ended up having some problems maybe a year or 2 later. Around 2003, I started having some problems with the installation with it. So I just sort of stacked them away in the flight cases and never really got them out a lot. And but recently I decided to, you know, put together a vinyl collection of the most requested music on vinyl. And so boom, I've got maybe, you know, 3 hours or plus of the most requested music, from Shout to the latest stuff from Lady Gaga or T.I. or whoever, stuff like that. So 2 vinyl records, that makes 5 sources, and then 6 and 7, there's a dual CD, not a CD player, but it's a dual, similar to a dual CD player, but it doesn't have the CD players attached to it, and you can plug in an SD card and a USB drive into it, and then you manipulate those, and that's a really cool alternative to having a laptop if you don't have one. Again, the laptop, to me, you need to be using a computer of some kind if you're a request DJ, because if somebody comes up with a song, you need to have a Mi-Fi point that you bring and a laptop. But that's just my opinion. I think people, DJs, one of the worst things you can do for your reputation is get in front of a crowd and people come up to you and they have a request that they want, and if you don't play that, the last thing you want to say is, I don't have it. And I know there's DJs that I've worked with before, and they just lie about things like that and then don't play it or whatever. But you know, I just tell people, hey, I got it. I can get anything you want, and you know, if there's a appropriate time to mix it in, I'll get in. There are some requests that I bought at you know, a couple, 2 or 3 events in the last 3 months where somebody requested a really weird song, and I went ahead and bought it just to check it out and stuff, and then I was going, when am I going to play this? And then I ended up just not playing it because there's too many other requests and things like that. But you just do your best. But anyway, that's my take on it. I really think you need to have multiple sources as a mobile DJ. As for vinyl, I think it's really, really cool. I think the vinyl thing is very, very cool. It is a lot of maintenance. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to bring, you know, 100,000 records. Now, maybe there's DJs out there that do that. I've heard about DJs like taking crates and crates of records to a show. I'm not going to do that, and I personally don't get paid enough to do what I do to make it worth my time or investment or risk to take an entire record collection to find every single song on vinyl. I just think that's stupid. But you know, I like to use for real vinyl, and then that's simply a great thing to add to the show and be able to do some of the for real scratching. Not that I do that very much, but you know, I like to be able to cue things up and have that for real DJ feel to what's going on, instead of Mr. Digital DJ that's, you know, poking around on his computer. And that's how I like it. So that's kind of my opinion on it. I don't think it's a thing of, okay, well, you know, CDs versus vinyl. I think you should be using both, and you should probably be using, you know, using the different types of sources that are out there, whether it's a laptop, CDs, USB, SD, or vinyl. You need to be utilizing those sources for what they do well, and then use a different type of, you know, source for doing something else. So, you know, anyway, that's my summary on music, and I hope that that's interesting to DJs out there, and to maybe some of the potential clients out there that are wondering how I do what I do. So anyway, thanks, and be a great DJ. Bye.